What I wanted to say about this time of year, if you've been cleansing or this is the natural cleanse that happens in spring, that we'll begin to have cravings for things that are kind of coping mechanisms. So that could be things that actually go in our body or just how we spend our time. And our coping mechanisms are cyclical, meaning that like we kind of spiral with them. So they could be things that we developed in childhood or even like in our adult life that are things that have worked for us in the past, that but then sometimes we fall out of balance with things and they don't work for us anymore, or there's things that we don't want to do anymore for whatever reason. And this time of year can stir up feelings of stress. For me, I see it in relation to uh, like I mentioned, cleansing, but also just the busyness of spring and like this this kind of like rush that kind of can happen with like the Aries season of like getting ideas and, oh, we got to do this, and initiating things. And it's really important to yes, initiate, and sometimes we have to be quick with that, but also not to take too much on, and not to say yes to everyone else's inspirations that they're getting as well, right? If it doesn't align with us, like sometimes jumping on board with other people's projects is good for us and sometimes it's not. So either way of wherever you're at, um, the invitation that's been just coming to me is in relation to other people is looking at what coping mechanisms are coming up if you are feeling that underlying stress of the extra busyness, and see what those things are and see how you can supplement them. Also, see how you can kind of prevent them. Um, so, for example, sugar could be one stress trigger for people. They'll want to like have a bunch of chocolate or have a bunch of things that they don't eat as much of usually when they're feeling more stressed. And so, one thing to do to prepare for that is to have like more healthy sugars in the house, and so we're not leaving it so that it's like this desperate situation where we like cave and we get something that is um, more unhealthy for us. To have something in the house, whether it's juice or something made with honey or just making cookies with honey or making energy balls or something like that, they're a little bit healthier than some of the other options out there. They can be quite quick. As well as like some people it could be that they just kind of want to mentally tap out, right? So if you're having that, it's to me it's a sign that you just might need a little more time to yourself and time to daydream. I know that's something that I really need, and if my schedule gets too busy, I start to procrastinate on things, and so just to like out of stubbornness, of craving my own time or staying up too late because I didn't get time to myself in the day, that kind of things. I'm sure other people can relate. That's why I'm sharing. So, yeah, creating space, going for a walk during the day if you can, taking yourself out for lunch, like just doing little things for self care um, that you might be doing already, which is great, but just kind of amplifying it so that you don't get to the point where you're kind of going out of your safety zone or the comfort zone that kind of can push us, off the deep end or what have you, into extreme versions of coping mechanisms. Um, and another thing is really like, of course, the adaptogenic herbs and the spring herbs that are here, like, can really support us. I really love maca at this time of year, as well as ashwagandha. So they're things that are actually like being planted right now. But if you have some from last year, or, can be able to get some from another practitioner or from a store. Um, as well as reishi. So reishi is not really in season right now, but it's a big ally for me in dealing with stress and just that mental space too, of just wanting to really tap into myself and not get too busy in my mind. Um, so whatever your allies are, that work for you, that can be cyclical as well. So these coping mechanisms, but we also can like start to do new things, right? And kind of interrupt those patterns. So if it's every spring, you start to cleanse, and then you start to crave a bunch of junk food because your cleanse is how your cleanse is going or whatever. So that would be like um, making it a habit then for every spring that you prepare something really yummy for yourself, and it can be an annual thing that you do. It's like I've been seeing people making the magnolia cookies and things like that, or making like cordials and things like that have a sweetness to them, but they have the added benefits of having herbs alongside them. So just be creative. And that's the thing with our old coping mechanisms, right? We have an opportunity to kind of bring creativity in there. So it's like, yeah, there's this old thing. It might have worked, it might not have worked, but it was something that I did that's not serving me. How can I be creative here? How can I tap into something that is going to kind of redirect, reroute, and maybe even, hopefully, maybe even break that habit or just weaken it so that the next time around it's like every year we just get a little bit better, right? So there's much more that I could say, so I'm happy to answer any questions. If there's a certain coping mechanism that's coming up for you and you're wondering like what's the antidote to that, or not necessarily the antidote but the opposite sometimes of it, just feel free to reach out and let me know. So yeah, wishing you well in this time of transition. I know that it's been tricky with extra lockdowns here in this area, so just take care of yourself and your loved ones. Bye.